4 on Channel 5.
This is the CBS Evening News. Susan Spencer reporting. Good evening. Pakistan today rounded up 80 people, baggage handlers, airport workers, eyewitnesses, in its investigation of the air crash that took the lives of President Zia and the American ambassador. The Pakistanis say they still think it was sabotage, but U.S. officials now are not so sure. Meanwhile, in Washington today, the American dead were honored. David Martin reports.
The bodies of Ambassador Arnold Rafel and Brigadier General Herbert Wassam came home today as U.S. officials for the first time began to cast doubt on claims the plane crash which killed the two Americans and Pakistan's President Zia was an act of sabotage. Senior officials who attended the planeside ceremony told CBS News they have been unable to confirm earlier reports of a mid-air explosion, reports which would suggest Zia's plane was the victim of a bomb or missile. One senior official directly involved in the crash investigation said he now believes it was an accident. American investigators arrived at the crash site for the first time today, but it will be another week before they complete their work. At today's ceremony, however, the talk was not of causes, but of victims.
Two of our best, Arnold Rafel and Herbert Wassam. Arnie and Herb. Over there, Ambassador and General. To us, they will always be Arnie and Herb.
Schultz had brought the bodies home after attending yesterday's state funeral for Zia in Pakistan. Nancy Rafel on the left and Judy Wassam in the middle had flown home with the bodies as well and stood stoically by as their husbands were remembered.
Recently, when I visited Pakistan, I saw at firsthand the difference he made in our relations with the Pak military.
But for other relatives and friends, the first sight of the coffins seemed too much to bear.
Today, at least, it didn't seem to matter whether these latest Americans killed in the line of duty were victims of an assassination or just an accident. David Martin, CBS News, Andrews Air Force Base.
New Republican vice presidential candidate Dan Quayle left the hustings today for powwows with campaign advisors in Washington. But as Jacqueline Adams reports, the controversy over his service in the National Guard during the Vietnam War goes on.
For the third day in a row, George Bush's appeal to ethnic blue-collar voters in crucial Midwestern states was overshadowed by the still unfolding saga of his running mate, Indiana Senator Dan Quayle.
In him, we have a man that is 41 years old that did serve in the National Guard with pride and with honor.
The vice president is taking the controversy over Quayle's National Guard service seriously. Today, he added a last-minute stop at the Air National Guard display at the Illinois State Fair. For his part, Senator Quayle ignored reporters as he flew back to Washington for a few days.
Come on over!
The latest chapter in the Quayle story concerns whether he talked his way into law school. According to his father, Quayle wasn't accepted by the Indiana University Law School because his college grades were too low, so he made a personal appeal. Quayle's father told the Knight Ridder newspapers, quote, he went eyeball to eyeball with whoever was in charge of that school and said, hey, give me a chance. And somebody bought the goods. Bush aides didn't waste any time responding.
Once again, no rules were broken. If Senator Quayle was able to convince the dean of his motivation, then more power to him.
Over lunch, the vice president tried to laugh off the whole issue.
I refuse to release my high school transcript because I failed in chemistry, and I don't want anyone to know that. I want to be a president that chemists can look up to.
And Bush's second choice for the ticket, Senate Minority Leader Bob Dole, tried to put the best face on Quayle's troubles.
I assume you could find better qualified people, but Dan Quayle, I think as you've indicated, is a young man. He's a quick study.
Indeed, Quayle returned to Washington for 2 intense days of schooling in running a national campaign, though his campaign manager, veteran Reagan hand Stu Spencer, told reporters he needs the time to put his staff together, adding, it's a big job. Jacqueline Adams, CBS News, Springfield, Illinois.
Neither Governor Dukakis nor Senator Benson had a public schedule today. Tomorrow they will get a national security briefing in Boston from CIA Director William Webster. 36 days ago, farm labor leader Cesar Chavez began a fast to protest the use of pesticides on California table grapes. Today, a weakened Chavez was helped to Mass in Delano, California, where he ended that fast. taking communion with the help of Ethel Kennedy, widow of Senator Robert Kennedy. Former presidential candidate Jesse Jackson says he will now fast for a few days in symbolic support. Still ahead on the CBS Evening News, we'll show you what peace looks like in the Persian Gulf. And later on Inside Sunday, television technology entering new dimensions.
Around here, breakfast time is like the playoffs. My goal is getting him to eat right. His game plan's a little different. So I give him Wheaties. It's full of good nutrition, not sugar. He's sweet enough.
Wheaties, 100% whole wheat, naturally low in sugar. That's champion nutrition for the whole family.
Victory.
I want a man with a slow hand. He's got a face that I love to touch.
Introducing the new Schick Ultrex Plus. Its pivoting head has a lubricating comfort strip and one-push cleaning to shave you smoother than ever.
A touch this easy makes me understand. When it comes to love, I want a slow
New Schick Ultrex Plus, the easy touch for the ultimate shave.
I'm not going to take it anymore. Sure, Metamucil works, but it's gritty.
I'm not going to take it anymore.
No more. Take new low-calorie Citracel Regular. Citracel isn't gritty, and it really works.
The #1 hit.
How fast can Ambisol relieve toothache pain? Before you can say
Ambisol.
Canker sore pain? Before you can say
Ambisol.
Ambisol relieves minor mouth pain on contact. Ambisol, liquid or gel.
The death toll is rising from a powerful earthquake that rocked mountainous northern India and Nepal. Some accounts say more than 600 have been killed and thousands more injured. Casualties in remote areas have yet to be reported. Scientists say it was the deadliest earthquake to hit the region in almost 40 years. Well, it's so far so good in the Persian Gulf. There are reports of minor violations, but nothing serious enough to jeopardize the two-day-old ceasefire. Doug Tennell visited the front today and has this report from Baghdad.
The UN's observers have only just begun to monitor the ceasefire. They are the only outsiders who have been permitted to visit the frontline positions along the no man's land between Iran and Iraq. And today they brought back some of the first eyewitness accounts of how the truce is holding up.
Not a lot of people are carrying weapons. Everybody's moving around freely, walking up on ridges, which you wouldn't do in a time of war or hostility.
Are there white flags?
Yes, there are white flags on the positions as such.
Any hostility, signs of hostility?
Not at all. When the ceasefire was declared, Iranian soldiers came forward and offered flowers to the Iraqis.
And did the Iraqis...
Who gave them water.
But the barren desert hills and ridges that form the battleground are not completely tension-free. Already there have been some angry accusations and at least one report of an incident.
The Iraqis say that one of their soldiers was shot and killed by an Iranian sniper here in the central section of the battlefront a day ago after the ceasefire came into effect. The Iranians deny that charge. They say not a single shot has been fired.
Governments on both sides are claiming victory. The only rockets over Baghdad last night were fireworks for a citywide victory celebration. One night when it was almost possible to forget all the bitter disputes that remain unsolved. Negotiations are due to begin next week in Geneva. But what Baghdad was celebrating was the first promise of peace in 8 years, even though on paper this is still just the first ceasefire. Doug Tennell, CBS News, Baghdad.
For the time being, at least, tankers are prudently acting as though there is no peace in the Gulf. The sooner all risk is removed and the oil starts moving freely, the better for everybody, of course. Everybody, but perhaps the salvage tugs. Alan Pizzi reports.
There may be a truce in the Gulf, but the U.S. Navy wasn't taking it at face value. 3 American-flagged tankers heading into the Gulf were escorted by the U.S. frigate Nicholas. The convoys had been sailing for more than a year. One of the ships in this one, the Sea Isle City, was hit by Iran last October. The only Iranian military presence today was a prowling P-3 maritime surveillance aircraft.
Iranian P-3, this is U.S. Navy warship. Your intentions are unclear. Alter your course.
An Iranian oil field helicopter queried by the Americans was told by an Iranian controller to cooperate.
لطف کنید موقعیتتون رو همین فرکانس سرویسی کنیم به ناو آمریکایی گزارش کنید.
In the end, it all went smoothly. Both Iran and Iraq have reason to make the peace work. The two countries' economies have suffered damage estimated at more than $400 billion. Damage to their oil industries has meant huge revenue losses. Neither side can afford to rebuild unless there is an uninterrupted flow of oil out of the Gulf. That has already begun to happen, and experts believe there's a lot of money to be made.
There will certainly be a benefit, and trade, I think, will dramatically pick up.
Even the Gulf Dow trade, which is as old as civilization here, was hurt by the war. Peace may cut back the revenues of the salvage companies, whose huge tugs wait for business in the dangerous shipping lanes. Peace will mean that tankers don't need military escorts to be safe. The year since the convoys began has been one of the tensest and most action-filled for the U.S. Navy since the Vietnam War. With a little luck, the coming months will be among the quietest, at least in these waters. Alan Fizzy, CBS News, in the Gulf.
But the prospect of permanent peace between Iran and Iraq is not a universally welcome development. For Israel, it means another powerful potential enemy to worry about. Bob Simon reports.
When the war began, Israelis said cynically and honestly that they were rooting for casualties. They wanted the war to go on forever, and they wanted both sides to lose. When the war started winding down, with Iraq emerging as the strongest power in the region, the first Israeli reaction was anxiety.
There is a potential danger. A large army, a hostile country, they might, I would say they will join any Arab war against Israel.
They have in the past. The Iraqis have joined every Arab war against Israel, and they now have 1 million battle-trained men under arms, more than 6,000 tanks. That's more than any single NATO nation other than the United States, and a proven ability to move them far and fast. But what disturbs Israelis most of all are the qualitative changes Iraq introduced to the Middle East battlefield: gas and ground-to-ground missiles. Gas has a unique and a traumatic resonance in Israel. There are now regular civil defense drills here, teaching people how to cope with a chemical attack. It's tougher to teach civilians how to cope with missiles, but Baghdad used them against Tehran and could turn them against Tel Aviv. But here in Tel Aviv, analysts do not believe Iraq will be doing any of these things anytime soon. Aside from the need to rebuild its economy, Iraq has scores to settle with Syria, which supported Iran during the war. It could also turn south and, with its revolutionary ideology, act against the reactionary regimes of the Gulf. The war may be over, but fortunately for Israel, disputes among the Arabs are not. The other good news for Israel is that Khomeini got a pasting. Islamic fundamentalism is bad news for a Jewish state, particularly when it spreads from Iran to neighbors like Lebanon and Egypt and then gets as close as Gaza.
We can't say yet that this is the end, but this is certainly Khomeini's ideology is in decline.
Israel sold arms to Khomeini during the war. It was deeply involved in convincing Americans to do the same. Irangate. Many Israelis think they and the Americans blundered by not opening some gates to Baghdad instead. They hoped there might still be time.
We have been courting Iran for 7 years, 6.5 or 7 years. Why not try and court Iraq for 6 years, see what happened?
The end of the war in the Gulf is proving something many had forgotten. Big powers still have power. American involvement changed the shape of the war and hastened its end. Bob Simon, CBS News, Tel Aviv.
No one knows I just got dentures, and I don't want anything to blow it.
Fix-it and forget it.
Denture is candied everything, but with Fix-it, I can get a taste of the local flavor.
Fix-it and forget it. Fix-it helps fix loose spots for a strong hold that lasts longer than any leading cream.
I just got dentures, but it hasn't slowed me down.
Size a bit of 45, want to hit 45, 45,
Use Fix-it and forget it.
It took 2,000 years, but a revolutionary discovery is changing the way men think about coloring their gray hair. It's called Just for Men, from the leader in men's hair coloring. Simply apply Just for Men, and in 5 minutes, shampoo out. Your gray is blended away, leaving your natural-looking color. 5 minutes. Here, look at me. Just for Men leaves your hair looking healthy and fuller, and it won't fade or wash out. Just for Men, in the men's hair care section.
The truth is, heart specialists concerned about aspirin irritation recommend Ecotrin over Bayer to help prevent second heart attack. Consult your doctor about the only brand of aspirin that's safety coated to protect your stomach. That's Ecotrin, and that's the truth.
What's the best kind of fruit? The kind that's fresh, moist, and plump. That's why Sunsweet are my favorite kind of pitted prunes. Moist, plump, and fresh. Sunsweet, because the best prunes are fresh prunes.
There was a large demonstration in London today as hundreds marched in support of Poland's banned Solidarity Union. Almost 80,000 Polish workers are on strike to back demands for Solidarity's legalization and higher wages. Poland's worst wave of strikes since 1981 enters its second week tomorrow. Solidarity leader Lech Wałęsa, who's been vowing to expand the strikes if the government fails to meet certain demands, now seems to be trying to avoid a confrontation. Bert Quint reports.
Lech Wałęsa demanded today that the Polish government negotiate with Solidarity to end strikes in Poland's coal mines and in the Baltic coast port of Szczecin. If it doesn't, Wałęsa said, he will call workers out in Gdansk, even at the risk of a return of martial law. But he appeared to hedge on his threat to call a strike here tomorrow, saying he had heard through unofficial channels that Polish authorities might now be willing to deal with Solidarity, something they've refused to do since they outlawed the union. We don't want to strike, he said, but unless the regime promises publicly today to treat us seriously, we will. By tonight, the government had promised nothing. And all Wałęsa would say when asked if there would be a strike in Gdansk tomorrow was, we will sleep on it. It's like last spring when wildcat strikes broke out in protest against drastic price hikes. Wałęsa was carried along with them, although they were doomed to failure. This time, the stakes are higher. For Poland, this is black gold, the country's largest earner of foreign currency, and it simply can't afford to have the flow cut off. And authorities have warned that if the miners don't go back to work, they will take serious measures. These miners say they can't live on what they earn, and they demand Solidarity be legalized. They're looking to Wałęsa for support. If he doesn't provide it, he runs the risk of being pushed aside by younger, more radical labor leaders. Today, he vowed to give that support, but he didn't say when. Bert Quint, CBS News, Gdansk.
About 10,000 protesters marched today in Prague, Czechoslovakia to mark this weekend's 20th anniversary of the Soviet-led invasion. Police used tear gas and clubs to disperse them.
If you're like me, you want your engine to perform. That's why you and I both need Quaker State with QSX. No other oil runs cleaner or fights sludge better. And it's the same Quaker State you buy right off the shelf.
The big Q stands for quality. Always has, always will.
Red Lobster asks,
are you ready to feast?
Ready for crab legs, fried shrimp, and a lobster tail on one plate? That's the ultimate feast.
Are you ready to feast?
Ready for shrimp? 29 succulent shrimp done 4 delicious ways? Then try our great shrimp feast.
And if you're ready to feast, you're in a Red Lobster mood. We know how you love seafood.
Now, Tuesday and Wednesday only, try our shrimp and steak special, just $9.95.
When you buy Corning prescription lenses that change, it's like getting free light tints, free medium tints, dark tints, and a range of free sunglasses all in one. Corning lenses that change, the only eyeglasses you'll ever need.
Rich stain and tough polyurethane protection in one. Polyshades by Minwax. Get a beautiful finish in half the time. A finish to be proud of. Polyshades by Minwax.
In a new survey, we asked 1,000 doctors if stranded in the middle of nowhere, would they want Tylenol, extra strength Tylenol, Advil, or Bayer? Doctors chose Bayer, 3-to-1 over extra strength Tylenol. Bayer, the wonder drug that works wonders.
And now an update on what you've been watching. Television. Tonight on Inside Sunday, the explosion in high technology that is changing TV, the way it looks and the way it's used. More and more TV is being used at the office, as Victoria Corderi reports.
3, 2, 1, and up.
Board officials. It has the look and feel of a commercial television broadcast,
But this is not necessarily the news.
Nissan triples warranty coverage, our top story today on the ASTN Report.
Not exactly a groundbreaking headline for most of us, but for the people who receive the automotive satellite television network, it's hot news. Corporate America has caught on to the unlimited potential of satellite technology, using it to provide tailor-made programming for specific industries and companies.
Corporate television is a powerful tool. It's a logical medium, and it's cost-effective to communicate with the employees out there.
Automotive Satellite Television Network originates programming in its Dallas studios and beams it to 3,000 auto dealerships around the country that subscribe to the service.
We would then go through a process of justifying to the customer why the car is worth $12,000.
Many dealerships, such as this one in Miami, tape the programming for employees to watch later.
They could just turn it on in the morning for a half hour or an hour and get some expert advice on a way to approach a different area.
Welcome to the Domino Pizza Network.
We're here to sell more pies.
In 1983, there were just 2 corporate TV networks. Today, there are more than 60. Corporations that have entered the video age say the programming boosts company morale because it keeps employees tuned into what's happening. But the major draw is the boost it gives the bottom line. JCPenney says it saves millions of dollars with its in-house programming. Employees used to have to travel to training seminars. Now they get it live and in color, saving company time and travel expense. If there is a downside to this high-gloss technology, it is the concern that employees may take their home viewing habits to the office.
Many corporate people who look at business television say, I don't want it, because you're going to make couch potatoes out of my employee.
But most industries are becoming increasingly willing to take the risk because they finally found a way to get out the corporate message through a medium most employees grew up on. Victoria Corderi, CBS News, Dallas.
The medium you're looking at right now is going to look a lot different in a few years. The reason is something called HD TV. Lynn Brown tells us what it is and when we're likely to see it. HD TV.
Oubliez tout ce que vous avez vu.
High-definition television. Developers of this new technology say it's the most dramatic change in television since color. So clear, it makes the average set seem out of focus.
This is almost 10 times the quantity of information as that which is your home television picture.
By the 1990s, HD TV is expected to be a billion-dollar industry, and communication manufacturers worldwide are battling for brighter pictures and bigger profits, and the U.S. appears to be losing the battle.
We in America and in Europe are just beginning to discover it, and we're not discovering it fast enough.
The main reason why the United States is lagging is because we've mostly lost our consumer electronics industry.
His brother Michael came into the picture. An industry lost to the Japanese, and American developers fear that Japan's advancement in high definition could hurt U.S. companies who make programs for the American audience.
We can lose a good part of our entertainment industry. We can certainly lose a part of our information industry, our money, our business.
HD TV production equipment developed by Sony is already being used across the country to make TV commercials.
It's gonna take plenty of money to do it right, child.
And music videos. In fact, Japan's government will begin broadcasting high-definition programs by satellite to Japanese homes in 2 years, but no such steps are currently underway in the U.S.
The U.S. is likely to be somewhat behind the Japanese transmission because the Japanese transmission has already been defined. They know what they're going to use, and that's still under study in the United States.
American developers of high definition hope it will bring back television manufacturing in the U.S. But who will control the big picture? Stay tuned. Lynn Brown, CBS News, New York.
If television is bigger and brighter in the future, it may also perform many more functions. Some of the new technology you'll have in your living room tomorrow is being developed today in a laboratory in Cambridge, Massachusetts.
Basically, America is driving Model T television sets, and highways are being built.
The 3-year-old Media Lab at MIT hopes to change that, to fast forward television technology into the future. The scientists' work is funded to the tune of $60 million. Envy them. A visit to the lab makes it appear that they're being funded to have fun. to Blue Sky, for example, about TV sets that change the volume and the size of the picture as you move around the room.
So there's a little bit of work going on there, just on having the television set sense when it is that you're even watching it. Okay? In this area, the flip side of that coin, what happens when you start to add television to a normal computer display?
What will happen when computer and television become one? One possibility, tailor-made TV. Presto, on the screen would be exactly what you want to see, based on what the computer knows about you.
You can envision systems where the programs are quite literally made up in your television set for you, and they're different from what your neighbor watches or anybody else watches.
There will be differences, too, in how you watch. Perhaps you'd like a side view. Perhaps you want a bit more information about something on the screen.
Today there was an explosion at an oil refinery. It set off a spectacular...
Whenever I ask it about something, it tells me other things it thinks I should know about.
And brace for the day, too, say the TV gurus, when everything you see on television is three-dimensional.
I'm one of those kids, and I think there are millions of them who saw 3D movies early in their lives and just became convinced that none of us could rest until that happened, that 3D was in every home every day.
3D television is a long way off, and like many of the ideas here, it may never be economically feasible. But at the lab, that isn't the point.
Some of the research may go nowhere, but I think it's valuable doing that kind of work and at least have the body of knowledge available to us later.
The scientists don't seem to worry about making television too interesting, such a force that it might dominate people's lives even more than it does today.
I think anything as powerful has to be thought about carefully, and we do.
But don't be fooled. All that careful thinking is happening while they're having fun.
Yeah.
Someone once asked the director of the Media Lab about the future and how you can predict it. Well, he said the best way to predict the future is just to invent it. That's the CBS Evening News. I predict that Richard Schlesinger will be here later with the CBS Sunday Night News. I'm Susan Spencer. Have a good evening. I'll see you next week.
Raisin Nut Bran tastes better than Kellogg's, better than Post. It's got juicy nut-covered raisins and big, crisp flakes.
People have a better time around Raisin Nut Bran.
The best tasting Raisin Bran.
Daddy, I want my teddy bear.
I want my Serta.
Here's why people want their Serta. Only Serta goes beyond just being firm. We top our support with the extra comfortable Serta Surface, a unique difference you can feel in a Serta Perfect Sleeper.
I want my Serta.
Your Serta Perfect Sleeper is on sale now during the Coast to Coast Truckload Sale at participating retailers. But hurry, the trucks are rolling now.
I want a man with a slow hand. He's got a face that I love to touch.
Introducing the new Schick Ultrex Plus. Its pivoting head has a lubricating comfort strip and one-push cleaning to shave you smoother than ever.
A touch this easy makes me understand. When it comes to love, I want a slow
New Schick Ultrex Plus, the easy touch for the ultimate shave.
X-Lax presents a gentle guarantee. A guarantee that X-Lax works gently by 8 a.m. when taken at bedtime or your money back. A promise you can count on. X-Lax, guaranteed complete relief by 8 a.m.
I'm Harry Smith.
And I'm Kathleen Sullivan. This week on CBS This Morning, actor, now author, Kirk Douglas.
Also Chuck Norris and Jodie Foster. This week on CBS This Morning.
This is CBS.